Well, if you are of a certain age, you may remember a time when the lead-in show to this very newscast sounded like this.
Come and knock on our door.
Come and knock on our door.
We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
Yes, the beloved late 70s, early 80s sitcom Three's Company was a supper-time staple for many households in this province. And over the years, one character in particular has become an unlikely fashion icon. I'm talking about Mrs. Roper.
How times change.
That unmistakable style has inspired Halloween costumes and, more recently, a Mrs. Roper-themed pub crawl. Yes, it's a trend that has now come to this province. And joining me now from Twillingate is the organizer of one such event, Julie Canuel. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, first of all, for those who aren't familiar with the character of Mrs. Roper, who is she?
Oh, well, she was the landlord's wife on Three's Company. She had her own style. She had such a personality. And the exchange between her and Stanley were the funniest things ever. So, yeah, she's totally iconic.
You recently held a Mrs. Roper pub crawl in Twillingate, and it looks like you had a really good turnout. It looked like you had a lot of fun. Can you tell us how that event came about?
Well, one day I was looking through Facebook at night, not just watching TV, and then I came across these people all dressed up like Mrs. Roper, and I saw that was going on in San Diego, and I'm like, oh, what an idea. That looks like so much fun. And I'm like, I wonder if that would work around here. So I put it out there, and I had a bunch of people say, yeah, like, we'd love to do this. And so I decided to organize it.
It is a trend that has cropped up in other cities. What do you think the appeal is of doing this? Why is a Mrs. Roper-themed pub crawl popular?
It's something for people to get together. I think after COVID and all this stuff, like, people need this togetherness, to be together and have fun and finally feel free a bit. Mm-hmm. I don't know, for me, like, that felt like that. And a lot of the locals, actually, that's who came. It was not the tourists, it was mostly locals, and everybody was happy. And one thing that I noticed, like, we had people with social anxiety, and just the fact that they wore a costume and all that anxiety, like, it kind of faded away, and they had a great time, and it was magical.
Three's Company, when I hear that theme song, the nostalgia just flows. It really brings me back to that time when I was young and supper time with that show coming on. What does Three's Company mean to you?
Well, Three's Company is very important to me because, being a French Canadian, I've been in Twillingate now for 22 years, but when I was a child in Quebec, all I spoke was French, and all I could understand was French. And Three's Company used to come on TV. I wanted to know so bad what they were saying, and where was the laughter coming from. So it was my biggest motivator to basically teach myself English. I was a kid. I finally learned it, and that was the best thing ever for me.
Do you hope that, this kind of event might help introduce that show to another generation? And I know, some of the character portrayals in Three's Company are a tad problematic for these modern times, but still, do you hope that it introduces this show to another generation?
Oh, absolutely. We had people in their early 20s come, and all the way to their 70s. Oh, yeah, it was like everybody came. It was amazing. So, yeah, it was pretty awesome. And we walked down the road from pub to pub, almost like a parade style. So people were stopping and taking pictures and videos, and it was wonderful.
Will you do this event again, do you think?
Oh, well, people, we were already talking about the second one while we were still doing the first one. But yeah, no, like it was such a hit. The number, like we're for sure having another one.
Well, it certainly looked like a fun time and a very comfortable way also to spend an evening out. Julie Canuel, thank you so much for telling us about it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.